Yo, what up? It's your boy Soulo, and we're back here again with the sun in Scorpio and the new moon in Scorpio. Is a new depth, is a new passion, internal passion, a new emotional um, realization of your, you know, potential, your inner potential, passions, your desires, and you have been transforming and seeing a new depth, basically. So this is what we're fixated on. We're fixated on new depth and understanding of your inner world and also the outer world. It's just an emotional depth of how to feel and see things. So the spirit is nothing becoming something. So it's developing an awareness, a light, a vision, and that accumulates into darkness. So darkness is an accumulation of light. Darkness is what's actually dense and physical. So your spirit is emitting light, visions and awarenesses to jump into, to experience. Your experiences are emotional, feelings and emotions. This is what we're doing, everything in reality. Your spirit is nothing becoming something. So an accumulation of darkness, a light into darkness would look like flesh. Flesh. When religious people say, oh, people who are into astrology and all these witchcraft are into some type of darkness or satanic demonic shit, you're the one that's actually lost in darkness because you actually believe those things exist and not understanding how the spirit and mind works and what it's doing. So your lack of is not lack, it's lack of understanding, but you're also stuck in a comfort zone and you're stuck in an ego about saving yourself and thinking you have chosen the right path, when that's narcissism and that's ego and that's thinking you're right to a certain degree. You won't give it up because you're convinced that how you're interpreting it from your limited perspective and point of view, like you know everything in the whole world, like you think is the end all and be all, the end all and be all. You fail to realize that that's just one perspective of how you're seeing it, and you're not the smartest individual in the person. You're not the most aware, not the smartest. You're not the most aware person when it comes to being spiritual and understanding what I'm talking about. But hopefully you do understand what I'm talking about, because I'm giving you the real shit beyond religion, beyond science, beyond all these limited biases that's actually making you more physical and dense, and that's a form of hell. Heaven will be understanding yourself, understanding reality, understanding other perspectives, and not getting lost in the bias, because we're all using the same mind and the same emotions. So if you're stuck in a comfort zone and you're fearful of understanding, and you're fearful of getting out of your beliefs because you think it's going to lead you to hell based on your religion or Jesus or Allah or whatever the church is saying in the Bible, you're lost in a man-made concept, because a man wrote that. Someone with a mind, someone with a feeling wrote that. A spirit who's just, lost in the world was trying to understand it. It doesn't mean it's the right perspective to be in, because you believing in these things because it manifested some type of comfort in your life based on the hardship of the system. And that's not, you shouldn't do that, because it's the system that's making it hard, not reality itself. It's people too, but people get lost in beliefs and shit. and that creates domino effects, and whatever. You got too many people who are lost in their thoughts and feelings, creating their reality. And these are just spirits lost in the light, lost in the vision, lost in the accumulation of thoughts that has already been here. Like, you believing in those things, you're not the first person to believe in those things. That concept is already here before you were born. So, but the thing is, you're adding more to the equation. You're adding more thoughts and feelings and light towards your environment, and that's what's creating our environment. Your spirit is accumulating light, visions, ideas, jumping into experiences, vibrations, emotional, and that's what's creating the flesh. That's what's creating your environment. Since we're existing after the fact, like where things has already been born, like accumulated, like the world and people living in it, animals. That should tell you that there's a mechanism that's happening already, and that's like the like spirits becoming aware, developing a mind to experience this physical reality. That's the whole mechanism of reality: life, death, rebirth, evolution, and so on. So we got humans here who are lost in their own mind about religion and science and all these whatever goddamn biases exist out there. You might be close to something, but it's not quite it. So by not understanding the real totality of it, you might say, YOLO, fuck it, nobody's gonna understand. That's your issue, because there's people here who understand, and they're not lazy to understand because it's important to understand. So you might say, yeah, nobody understands, and if they think they do, they might be a narc, or they might be lost in the ego. And the truth is, we're all have an ego. It just depends if you utilize it to the most balanced potential or not. So being in a comfort zone about whatever you think feels right, you're just accumulating more light based on that comfort zone, based on that vision and how you live life. You have no idea how death looks like, what death is, but reincarnation is real, and we all play a part in our reality and how we shape it. So religious people who bash the true spiritual people who are trying to help everybody, they're the ones who are lost in the light, because they're not doing anything to help society and the community. They're not doing anything. They're just lost in the flesh. They're lost in the same bullshit every day. Just it's simple. Lost in the flesh. People get lost in having too much fun. There's no problem with having fun. It's just too much fun creates a retarded society. And it's all about being sacred with the divine and not being too much of a barbaric animal that's disrespecting the natures, the divine, the great spirit and stuff like that. Like, y'all don't respect nature. Y'all just barbaric, partying every day. You don't respect your own flesh. You don't respect your mind. You don't respect the nature that you're made of. We're made out of the same nature, out of the nature outside of us. So you gotta respect these basic things. Universal law, and things of that nature. And one thing I forgot to mention is religious people, people who are just lost in manifesting, and these are like, most of them are religious people, or people who are lost in the ego when it comes to biases like science and shit like that. All these people want to do is manifest a good working pay, like jobs and stuff like that, just so they can experience life And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you can't be trying to save yourself through religion and all you care about is money, drinking, being lustful, being lost in some type of ego empowerment, thinking you're right or some shit, when you're just a spirit accumulating that light. You know, you're a spirit having a mind and accumulating lights. An accumulation of light is darkness. So you're getting lost in darkness, you're getting lost in the light. Too much light creates darkness, aka density in flesh. So a lot of people are lost in the light that became flesh. And we're all here for a reason. You know, I'm a real biblical angel trying to spread the truth, you know, and I'm here to tell you sometimes there's spirits that need to come down here and tell you how it is. But it seems like you retarded people just want to be lost in your own ways and emotions. So, but it's not just that, you know, fucking the system has an algorithm and don't want to be, you know, they want to be retarded too. These are just regular humans like everybody else, just in a more powerful position in a powerful retarded ego. So you're already leading yourself down to a path of hell because you're not trying to help nature around you. You're just trying to destroy it and be on top of the mountain with your retarded throne and shit. So yeah. Shout out to Dodo the Pilot Man, Flight Boss Uriel for the wisdom. Go check his channel out. That's a real angel. And you gotta understand that it goes deeper than your religion. It goes deeper than the Bible. It's not, you're literally creating the hell that we're all in, the flesh. And it's not about escaping humanity through spirituality, because we're all here. Everything is evolving. Everything has to get out of something. Everything is like a cocoon shedding. And, you know, as humans getting lost in the flesh, you have to find your way back to the great spirit so you can be more aware of new experiences that you can jump into and become less dense. It's all about becoming less dense, because spirits that exist in those lighter densities have higher morals and principles, and you know how to build a better world. And that's what we're trying to do through spirituality, trying to make spirits less dense, less physical, because it's all about, you know, being fluid in motion, not in this system that's corrupted and people who are lost in biases and egos and their retarded animalistic natures. And it's all about, see, if there was millions of me, not to sound egotistical, there wouldn't be none of this nonsense going on around the world. You know, it would be a better place. But they are, you know, there's a couple of people out there doing their thing, but it's only, I could count with 5 hands. I mean, I could count with 5 fingers. So it is what it is. Just look how reality is playing out. Just spirits becoming aware, evolving, you know, all the way to the smaller awarenesses to bigger awarenesses. And, you know, as humans, we have to understand ourselves and how we're doing things so we can accumulate a lighter experience, because it's all about experiences. Whatever your spirit jumps into mentally and how broad that awareness is based on evolution, that's the type of experience you will live in. And we have a bunch of different experiences. We have a bunch of different spirits accumulating this physical density that we're in right now. And there's more levels of densities that exist. And, you know, there's worse densities than human. And a lot of humans, you know, sometimes revert back to that based on animalistic natures and just trying to be survived. So, for example, we're both going to die either way. Either if I'm, you know, someone like me, extremely spiritual and with knowledge, and someone who's lost in their own ways and being barbaric and demonic. It doesn't matter what you do. Through your perspective, you're going to be like, it doesn't matter, we're all going to die anyway. We do all die, but the experience is what matters. And how you carry yourself is what matters. And the understanding of yourself, knowing thyself, is what matters. So how you chose to live your ways, you're going to be stuck in those ways, those thoughts and feelings, and your spirit holds that memory. You're going to exist in that density. I'm going to exist in a lighter density, and not to be in an ego. But I'm going to just leave it at that. Peace.